I thought today we could touch on what do clients want? What are clients looking for when hiring you as an artist beside their artistic skills? I should mention that this Curio & Co series is intended to give back to the artistic community, to provide tips to artists who are dealing with the many peculiarities of the entertainment industry. By the way, that is my hand drawing. And for those of you who don't know me, hello, I am C. I've been in the visual industry for over 2 decades, and I'm also a partner at Curio & Co. here in Vienna. Our main line of work is to create content and visuals. We aim to entertain ourselves as well as our audience and clients with the projects that we undertake. My hope is that the tips I get to share will help you reach your artistic goal faster. After all, this industry is quite fast paced, so let's get started. As artists, we need to pay rent. The art doesn't pay the rent, your clients do. So I wanted to take some time to share a few things that are not addressed in schools for the most part, and they tend to be really hard lessons for artists to learn. Usually, they are things that are learned the hard way once an artist enters the commercial art market. But that I mean anything from design, illustration, animation, film, and so on. Practically any industry where artists are involved in creating consumer products. I think this applies to all type of creative fields, and since I've been on both sides of the fence, being hired and hiring, as well as having worked for large and small companies, I can give you my take and a little glimpse in what a hiring party slash client is looking for. And maybe this will help you when you choose the company that you reach out to or when you go into an interview. It's useful to think of whoever is hiring you as a client. Even if you're looking to be employed on a full time basis, think of yourself as a small business. You will need to make sure that you are healthy financially, physically, and mentally in order to operate. The company that is hiring you is looking for result. That's why they're willing to pay you. You need to take care of yourself first. That's the only way you can deliver and keep yourself in the business. It helps to understand that there are two types of hiring parties: those who are interested in creating good products and those who want it done fast and cheap. Usually, fast and cheap is focused on a quick financial return. You should be aware of where you're looking for employment so that you can align your own needs with your own career goals. The hiring parties can be supervisors or the big chief. By the big chief, I mean the person who has the last word. There are substantial differences working with the supervisor versus working with the big chief. The supervisor might actually need to get approval to hire you on the project. They too have a boss who also might have a boss himself. The moment you get into a company structure with a layer of three supervisors or more, the company is large enough that the focus will start to shift to a sole financial success goal, regardless of the product they might be producing. Quality tends to be a secondary importance. I'm of the belief that smaller businesses are more quality driven, but they tend to have more of a financial restructuring for production and sustainability. I would suggest you to do some research and make sure that you are applying to a company that makes sense for your artistic goals. Remember, you are hired because you're supposed to add value to their product. Clients are going to be giving you money for a service that you're going to provide. That service will need to have more value to them than what they're going to pay you. Usually, you will need to produce a specific volume of content in a specific amount of time. especially if you are in full production. Pre-production is a bit looser depending on which type of production and studio you might be at, but regardless, you will always have to face weekly deadlines. That's why it's essential for you to know what you need to deliver and by when. Ask the question if something isn't clear in terms of deliverables or deadlines. If you're not clear on what you should deliver, then neither you nor the clients will be happy. Make sure you add value to the project that you're working on. Otherwise, you just might not be there for very long. Offer solutions, don't just point out where the problems are and try not to become a problem yourself. In the case there are conflict of interest with you and your client, then it might be the time for you to move on to the next gig. Sadly, that's just the reality of doing business. The fact is that you're there to make money for the higher ups. They put together the budget to pay you and your colleagues. Now they need that money back, and they also need the assurance that that money will be coming back. You should be aware of what you're giving up for the money that you are taking home. You need to understand that you're giving up your own ideas. Make sure that you're okay with this transaction. Emotionally, you'll need to feel okay with it. Many creatives often feel cheated. If you accept the fact that your idea for this specific gig have the agreed price and you're okay with it, then you'll have a much better experience during the production. If you want to retain the rights to your ideas, you'll need to look into going for the independent creative route. But this is a substantially different route. The other things that you'll be giving up is your time. And time is money. But time is the one thing that you can't get back. Money, one way or another, you can always make it. And as you move on your creative career, you'll tend to value time more and more. Treasure every minute that you have to dedicate to your creative endeavors. That is a limited resource. Whoever is hiring you is looking for someone who is all of these 7 things. Sometimes it may vary a bit depending on the project, and if you have some additional points that you think should be on the list, leave them in the comments so that others can benefit from your experience. So, the list. 1. You need to be easy to work with. 2. You need to be a team player. 3. You need to be a problem solver. 4. You need to be able to navigate the politics in the office or the production that you're on. 5. You will need to be able to take notes. And I mean criticism on your work on a regular basis, which leads me to point number 6. You need to be someone who is going to make the project's vision come to life. Their vision, not yours. You are at their service. They don't work for you, you work for them. If you think the client is wrong with their decision, you might need to weigh the consequences of what to say and when. What you say might lead to either a promotion or a dismissal. And number 7, obviously, you need to be competent artistically. And yes, I said competent because if you're excellent, but you don't have the other things I listed, then you just might not be worth hiring. You might be a problem to the production, not an asset. This industry is a collaborative one. You really need to fit into the big machine. Here are just a few interview tips. The person who is hiring you will have to spend a lot of time with you. That means They will have to make a decision based on 1 or 2 meetings with you. This is a short time to decide if they want to start a relationship with you. They are technically taking a chance hiring you. If you have something in common, that will help to start building a relationship. If you're familiar with a project that they worked on, you can start a conversation with that, or talk about how what the company creates aligns with your personal interest and your creative goals. It's also helpful to build a network with like minded people. If you know someone who's on the team, that will create a link for the supervisor based on that friends of yours behavior and skills. Practically what you need to do is convince them to hire you, which means that you need to sell yourself. Try to get in the client's mind so that you can anticipate their behavior and needs. Clients are often pressed for time. They want to go home, they're tired, they have other deadlines or meetings to go to, and a ton of other decisions to make and fires to put out. Make things easy for them, and you'll be an asset. Try to make them understand that you are there to solve their problems. Remember, they are not there to solve yours, they're paying you. Of course, if there are issues relevant to the project, you should bring them to their attention. But definitely don't go asking them about why your email is not working or why your software is not launching. You should be able to solve these problems without them. And most often, there is somebody in the office whose responsibility is just dealing with those problems. Now, let's address some particular realities tied to clients. Clients can be difficult to handle. You are there to solve their problems, but it doesn't mean that they know what the problem is. They just might not be competent in your field. If you're lucky, you'll have a supervisor who actually knows what the job that you're doing actually is. For the most part, it's quite rare. Your team will be your actual support group, and that's one of the reasons why it's important for you to be a team player. Regardless of how painful or frustrating a project or a client can be, it's helpful to keep in mind that there is no job from which you will not learn something. If during the interview you have a bad feeling about the particular work environment, take a day and reflect on it. But do not dismiss this gut feeling. True, they're taking a risk hiring you, but you are also taking a risk working for them. If you find yourself in an abusive or toxic work environment, you are better off looking for another position or perhaps another gig at another company. It's really not worth having health problems because of a bad working environment. I'll wrap it up with just 2 things. Communicate with the client and find out what they actually need you to deliver so that you can meet their expectations, and try to identify with them and see the situation from their perspective. That will help you cope with the work that you need to produce. I hope that what I share with you will be helpful to your creative journey. If you found this video at all helpful, you can support the channel by pushing that pesky thumbs up and the notification bell if you want to know when the next video gets released. In the case you leave a comment, I'll do my best to get back to you with the relevant info and answer your question. In the meantime, stay curious, keep learning, and of course, stay creative.